Hey everyone, this is Olay Shorunke from Laddering Your Success, and you're listening to the LYS Podcast. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. Welcome all to another episode of EduSteps, powered by Laddering Your Success. As always, I'm your good friend Olay Shorunke, here with some wonderful brothers. First off, starting with my good friend Jamar Crawford. Jamar, how you doing today, bro?
Hey, y'all, I'm doing all right. Just happy to be here.
Awesome, man. Happy to have you, man. As always, as always. And Festus Amoye, how you doing today, Festus?
Good. It's just got the technicals in the background. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Technicals.
what is happening here? But doing really well, man. Doing really well.
Festus was probable. He was listed on the injury report as probable with a wrist injury and soreness. There, y'all seen that clip of Mike Tyson when he was like, "I broke my back. My back is broken," and he's like, "Is it the vertebrae? Is it spinal?" He's like, "Spinal." He's like, he had no clue what he's talking about.
Wild outtakes.
Let me not make fun of Mike Tyson. I better meet that man. He's like, "I saw what you did. I saw what you said about me. Keep that same energy when you see me. I don't want no smoke. I want no smoke. No smoke, Mr. Tyson." We have the one, the only. That I forgot what it was. What is it now?
That guy,
That guy.
no spaces.
That guy. No chaser. Daniel Hill, how you doing, buddy?
What's up? I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. And also, I'm sorry. And also a shout out to LYS for helping me accept my own business too this week. So thank y'all for that. Thank y'all for all that. You know what I'm saying? Had me off in the gym doing the work. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome, man. I heard you was in there getting your own mentoring session over there.
Man, he was teaching me. I was like, man, that daggone Festus would teach you from grade school to heaven, man.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Wow.
He'll give you classes in the upper room, man. If you ain't careful, he'll take you to the upper room now. No, but so we are here today to talk about self-care and mindfulness. Now, this is something that's been really popular for a lot of people, but I think kids have it starts with adults and these things start slowly trickle down to the kids. So I know a lot of students are into a lot of these things, and I know the stresses that they have are a lot more profound than what we had. And I'm not going to say it's all because of social media. I'm just going to say it's because of where we are in 2023. The game is just different. It's the same, right? They have the same challenges, problems, and issues, but the environment is different. And I think it's really, really key for us to think about ways to help our students. Of course, as LYS, as Laddering Your Success, we are a organization designed and equipped with resources, with manpower, with tools to help young people deal with those issues and find solutions and move forward in their lives, right? Start a path towards us, not only towards success, but future generational productivity, let's say, right? For those who come after us. So first thing I want to talk about with everyone in here is, since we have dealt with this, every human deals with this, right? I want to look at this from a be no do standpoint, and I also want to look at this from the 7 chapters of LYS standpoint, right? So when we talk about it from a B standpoint, right, the be no do process, B, what are your values and principles, right? What are our values and principles towards self-care, right? Go ahead.
To be honest, I haven't thought that much about self-care. I think when going through just different hardship in life, the big thing is like to get through it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just like, keep going. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that there are some coping mechanisms that are good. that are healthy, which, you know, one that I took from sports, particularly football, was weightlifting, you know what I mean? And that always helped me to channel my anger. So I value exercise. You know, I don't look like it. I do exercise very regularly, you know what I'm saying? And that helps me to just kind of blow off a little bit of steam. I think the other thing that I realize is just like a very key thing is reflection. And for me, you know, I think the Christian principle of examining yourself according to scripture is very helpful, because I know different people have different beliefs, and some people, you know, the thought is the higher self, you know what I'm saying? And for me, I think it's like, you know, and again, different people have different beliefs, but I think it's like just trying to live a life worthy of, you know, the cost of salvation, but also of the preciousness of life. Like I think life is so precious that you can't go to the extremes. I mean, yes, you need to go hard, you know what I'm saying? But then there's a certain point where it's like, you're going so hard, you're damaging yourself and others, you know? And so to me, that's a mindfulness component. So I'll just start with that.
Boy, the bishop just went in over there already. Boy, I'm telling you, he be on it, bro. I like that. The mindfulness. Yeah, you need to get your mind, like you said, just think about it, get your mind focused. And also, like here lately, like I've been telling you, I've been going to therapy. So it's good, like, to do stuff like that, find somebody to talk to. Good to have like a mentor. Like he said, some people have their own beliefs, don't think they ever have to go talk to anybody too as well. But everybody should talk to somebody. Even if it's a personal person or like a physical person, not physical therapist, but therapist. But you need to take time to rest. The Bible talk about rest. Like you got to take care of yourself. Like even God rested. So if God rested, that means you definitely take a break and sit down. I think like he said, we we push through it. And then, but there's some people who go past that. And when their body is about to give out, they still try to keep going. And that kind of destroys everything. So, but you do need to go take a break every once in a while. That's why I see it.
I think for me, that's something that I'm still have room for growth and need to improve, which is prioritizing self-care. I've been just so focused on things that I need to take care of that I tend to neglect steps towards self-care and paying attention to my needs, whether it's physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, just because, you know, I have a goal that I'm trying to attain, and it seems like my to-do list is constantly piling up. So for me, that's something that I still have room to grow and make improvements.
No, absolutely. I think we live in a day and time where we're inundated with so many tools, right? So many apps, so many YouTube videos that help with this and that. And when we get going in the process of life, it's very easy for us to forget about those or to not bring those in, because it's just like Festus said, you know, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. Are we taking that time to sit back and, reflect? So I think what you guys did is you guys gave like a whole picture. We talked about exercise. Essentially, we talked about prayer, reflection, examining yourself, and therapy. I think all these things are really, 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 really useful. Now, let's get to the no portion. For the average high school student, right? Average high school student, and then, college student. What resources are around that can help with self-care and wellness? And we can say wellness or mindfulness, right? I know when I was in college, I think it was like, 2010, I remember I used to hang out in the student center. And there was this gentleman that worked for the student center, and he talked about everything, all the resources that they offered. And he said something, they offered a student support center. where if you needed help with studying, if you needed help with, if you were under a lot of pressure, if you just had, if you were dealing with any type of issues, you could just go and you could talk to one of the counselors or someone there to help you. And I was like, oh, okay. I remember just hearing that in passing really quick. And I was like, oh, that's cool. But I was like Festus, where I was like, look, I am here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to leave with a degree. I don't care about anything that you guys have. My honestly, my two goals were get a degree and get as much free stuff as I could possibly get. That was just me, right? But looking at it now, we do have an understanding of how a lot of the things that we've incorporated in our lives, the things that we've made patterns, how they can affect us in our later lives. And so I want you to, just see me. As you see me here, let's say I'm a high school sophomore. What are some resources, or what is like a go-to couple things that we can tell our young people to do to get access to? What are the resources around them that they don't even know about? Like LYS, right? That they can use to help with self-care, with mindfulness, with wellness.
I think there's definitely much more resources available today than there was in the past. In the past, it was kind of suck it up, Chuck, you know what I mean? And now I think, schools are even doing better about, kind of crisis centers and things like that. But I do still think there's a lot further to go. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we can't always outsource everything. And I think that's probably one of the biggest problems that I'm seeing now, is that people are like, oh, yo, mindfulness, oh, yo, self-care, whatever the care is or whatever the need is. And the thought is, oh, we should hire somebody to do that, whether it be from a school perspective, family perspective, individual perspective. And I think with that regard, I'll use my words carefully, is the aim should be being taught or being exposed to how to do some of these things for ourselves. You know what I mean? Meaning in the smallest circle possible. So if it's you and your counselor, if it's maybe having a mindfulness room at the school, because some people, they talk about safe spaces and all those different types of things. And it's like, when that thing is no longer available to you, are you able to still practice you see what I'm saying? The principles and the things like that. And so to me, that's just a thought. And so I want to say school counselor, but I know counselors are quite overwhelmed. I know they have other kind of resource officers that are available. And the thing is, I think people should make use of those things. Obviously LYS and just kind of what we talk about, and that segment on health, right? So if you're dealing with your being, so your character, your values and principles, and then you're going into that knowing of health aspect, I think that's really key of, the freshman 15, you land on college campus, you start gaining a little bit of weight because nobody's there to tell you, hey, eat a well-balanced meal. So now you just late night pizza and going to sleep and crashing, all those different types of things, right? Then you gained 40 pounds as a freshman. Golly, Claude, I remember those basketball videos you did. Olay put some in the chat for y'all who's not watching. But anyway, yeah, so to me, I think it's one of those things where it's like, utilize those resources that's available. A lot of colleges now are having professional counselors with them. There's a lot of, churches and different religious organizations that are on campuses trying to help students. You should take advantage of those resources, because a lot of times, and this is the thing that I find, okay, and this might be a gem for somebody, the good practices that you learn early in life actually are what determine your success. So if you learn to manage your mental health, your emotional well-being early in life, that actually helps you to become more successful later in life, because you keep applying that principle or that thing over and over again, versus like, okay, just trying to get your mind right for the time being, you know what I mean? And then say, okay, now I could brain dump what they taught me, instead of like, okay, if I'm doing some self-reflective exercise, if I'm doing meditation, I really learned that thing for myself, and I can apply it over and over again whenever I need to use it. So that's my thoughts.
Hey LYS fam, it's Olay once again. You know, these days, many families are busy but want personalized attention. We at Laddering Your Success understand this dilemma and have created a unique approach to help guide you and your child with personal development tools to build a life of purpose. This intimate approach is helpful for those parents that feel the need to have a focused heart-to-heart conversation deciding on the next steps after high school. We provide individual post-secondary planning, virtual customized college and career counseling, and scholarship guidance and planning. Our one-on-one sessions are tailored to each individual student to maximize their potential in the post-secondary realm. With our guidance, your child will be able to make their dreams a reality. Don't wait. Simply go to lys.com/parents to get your copy today. Now let's get back to business on this podcast.
Please, anyone else that wants to jump in, thank you so much for that, Festus. I might ask you a question when we loop back around, but if anyone else wants to jump in, please.
I think as far as college students, I know you framed the question for high school students, but I know for college students, from my experience, it differs from organization to organization, but they do provide resources for students to seek that help if need be. But again, the students do have to take that step to go to that resource. They do advertise that it's there, but at the same time, they don't force the students to use those resources. I know HCC, particularly Houston Community College, offers that, but it's by appointment. You have to go online and find it. And I remember when I was at Sam Houston, they do offer that as well. So there are institutions that offer services to support students with self-care, right? But then when we talk about public school, I truly believe that's an area that needs refinement, because in public school they have a position called school counselors, where I think that title should be renamed possibly to academic advisors, because they do less counseling and more scheduling type of thing. That's their roles, and they deal more so with testing and things of that nature. So although their title is school counselor, their primary focus, if I just be honest, is not to counsel the students. And even then, to even get that, there's a paperwork process that has to be done, and then they're so busy, like Festus just addressed, doing all these other duties around the school that has nothing to do with counseling. And so we have students that are going through things, and we think that school should be the safest place, and there should be systems set in place to where these students can have an outlet to talk to someone. But that's definitely an area of refinement from what I notice in the public school system.
Absolutely. So there's a couple things. Sorry, I was taking notes as you all were talking. Y'all were dropping some dimes here. So Festus, you said earlier, we can't always outsource everything, right? And I think you sent me the video. It was like the Tom's mindset, and Tom's is the company that makes the canvas shoes. And part of their great marketing story was, for every shoe that is sold, one shoe gets given to kids in Africa, right? And it's so amazing, because when you go and you purchase the shoe, you don't see the shoe, right? You may see a video later on, but you don't see the shoe being given. You don't see the direct person getting that shoe. But what you don't think about is, you don't think about the fact that you went out and you worked to purchase, you worked for the money to go out and purchase the Toms. The young person in Africa who's getting the shoe, they just got the shoe. So for them, they see it as, oh, I just get these shoes, right? And it's this, I don't want to call it a facade, but it's this narrative that's created for us where you think you're doing good, but for the individual, are you really giving them the tools that they need to be prosperous or to be a functioning member, a productive member of society, right? And I think that's where you're trying to get to. Go ahead. I see that mic on fire. Go ahead.
The steam. No, I'm just joking. But anyway, no, and that I think is one of the big points of like growing up rough, is that some people think, oh, well, if we just give them the money, or if we just, do whatever for them, that we solve the problem. But in reality, number one is learned helplessness, right? If I just cry long enough and wham, wham, wham long enough, somebody's going to come and do for me what I could and should be doing for myself, right? That's one thing. And I'm not talking about people with non-visible disabilities. So you can take that and go, shut up. But, there's people who have non-visible disabilities, and we do need to address that. You know what I mean? Mental health issues, emotional issues, and things like that, which I do understand that number is much higher. I mean, they say that as many as 50% of people that go into a hospital have a mental health issue along with their illness, that people are battling depression, that people are battling all types of things that are non-visible at the same time. And so when you think about like these third world countries and people from impoverished backgrounds, they have non-visible illnesses. But at the same time, in the same respect, you should give somebody the dignity to strive, right? And what do I mean by that is that I've been really blessed to meet a number of highly successful people. And when I say highly successful people, I'm talking about people in the top 1% of the country economically. And, in meeting these people, when I ask them about their story, or, you find out about their story, many of them have striven to get where they're at. Many of them have gone through a lot of hardship to get where they're at. And because they've done that, some people call it a cockiness, but it's like, nobody would call 50 Cent cocky. You know what I mean? Like when people are like, oh, got shot 9 times and I'm still breathing. He got hit like I got hit, but you know what I'm saying? But anyway, people would be like, man, you're truly blessed. Well, if you look at the growth over time, the same person who was singing Wanksta and Gangsta is now a top business person. You see what I'm saying? And could you or should you have denied him that by saying, well, you grew up poor, so let's just give you what we can give you until, you see what I'm saying? And I think what the big thing about it is, and this is where I find many people are at, is the power complex, right? The power complex is, see, I'm giving you this thing. And I'm the one, if you can't live without me. You see what I'm saying? I think that's what's happening a lot of counseling and counselors, or so-called counseling and counselors. They never bring you to the end point of where you have to really deal with yourself and deal with that situation. So people wear that badge of pain instead of just being like, dang, I have to somehow reconcile in my mind this hardship that I went through and the success that I want to have. You know what I mean? And really deal with that. And sometimes I have to limp into success, limp into personal success, meaning I'm wounded, but I'm still moving forward. You see what I'm saying? And it is hard to do. It is hard to do. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm just saying, like, again, I think, and I love what Dr. Crawford said is like, yeah, call them academic advisors. Don't call them counselors. Because I know when I was going through hardship and I went to, my counselor in school, they're just kind of, what do you want me to do about it? You know what I'm saying? And so what happened mentally is because I thought you were going to provide something for me that you could not or would not provide, I had a different expectation. And then I felt let down because it's like, you know what I'm saying? I'm coming to you, telling you all the stuff I'm going through, and I'm not really getting help. And I'll give one such example. The time I cussed out my English teacher, okay? So I know people are like, what? You know, but anyway, I had a particular English teacher, I won't say names, so that Miss Aldridge won't be found out. Hopefully she's retired. But you know what I mean? So anyway, so Miss Aldridge, 50% of her students were failing. We knew this because we all compared grades. And so anyway, comparing grades, we're like, man, how you feeling? I'm feeling, you feeling. So I'm looking at my progress report at the time, my progress report. And anyway, I went to the counselor 2 separate times, like, yo, I need to get out this teacher's class. I need to get out this teacher's class. Hey, you're in the class. There's nothing we can do about it. That's what I got, right? Now, at the time, I'm dealing with, you know, partial homelessness, having lost both my parents, all these different types of things, which nobody addresses. It's just like, yo, you need to just do your schoolwork. So anyway, I'm in Miss Aldridge's class, get my progress report. Look at my progress report. I got all these zeros. I'm like, dang, how I got all these zeros? So I dig in my bag, get all the work that I have grades on. They're low grades, but I still got grades. And I'm like, you know, all these things are missing. So I go to a miss, you know, that's what we call everybody, miss. Yo, I got all these zeros, but here go the grades. You know what I'm saying? They're still low, but they're missing, you know? And I'm like, and she's like, sit down. I don't want to see that stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I go sit down. And then a couple minutes later, she's like, come back up here. So I go back and I'm like, she's like, bring the stuff. So I'm getting ready to get up and I'm looking for the paperwork. I'm like, dang, I know I just had it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where I put it. So I'm looking under my desk or whatever. And then she makes a comment. She's like, see, that's why you fell in my class, because you're disorganized. Granted, I am a disorganized person. But at the time, this set me into a whirlwind. And so I just said, disorganized? Me? You disorganized. This whole mother-loving place is disorganized. F you, F this, you know what I'm saying? So I just went off, right? So being the responsible young man that I am, I walked out of class. And I went to the principal's office. I sat in the principal's office. And principal's like, what you doing here? I'm like, hey, I just cussed out this teacher. And they're like, whatever, go back to class. So I just keep sitting there. Phone rings, pick up the phone. Hang up the phone. Hey, did you just cuss at your teacher? I just told you that. You know what I'm saying? So what are you know, I just told you that. Well, you're gonna have to call somebody to come pick you up to go home. And my response to the principal at the time was, my parents are dead. Who am I gonna call? I was like, oh, well. And so I say all that to say these are the type of issues that kids might be dealing with. You know what I mean? That even though they go to the counselors are ill-equipped to deal with those issues. And so they handle it by just, quote unquote, just listening instead of giving some real solutions or working with the student to get a solution. Come to find out, Ms. Aldridge was having other students put grades in the grade book. I don't know who put in the grades. Maybe they didn't like me, whatever. I have no clue. But this led to, even though I was getting 37s and 40s, whatever, you know what I mean? And this is the thing, for weeks and months before, I'm going to the counselor and I'm saying, this is what she asked us to do. This is what I turned in. This is the grade I got. And the counselor's looking at it like, yo, it looks like you did what they asked you to do. Why are you getting this grade? I'm like, I don't know. And so these are the things students are struggling with, where they're trying to get ahead in life. They're dealing with pressures in life, and school is ill-equipped to help them resolve in their mind how to move forward and be successful.
No, wonderful. I mean, I think you painted it in the perfect light. I think that story pretty much encapsulated everything that young people are going through. Yeah, definitely. So did anyone else have anything they wanted to piggyback off or comment based off of that? Okay. So let's go to the do, because there's some questions I want to come back to in the end. But I just want to make sure that we, kind of stick to the script here. So the do portion. So the do portion in the due process is executing with excellence, right? So by that standard, how do we execute prioritizing self-care and mindfulness? How? right? So what I have listed here in my notes is the best way to know if something is working is just look at where you were before you implemented. Do you see a change? Do you see something? Do you see a positive from this thing that you've been doing, right? If you find yourself being more organized, if you find yourself having more clarity, if you find yourself being more productive, if you find yourself being an overall better person, if other people are, that's probably one of the biggest, right? Is when other people say, man, are you doing something different? Like, what are you doing? Because you acting this, you're doing that. That's one of those big things, those big aha moments that let you know that, maybe this thing that I'm doing is really helping, you know. And a lot of the books that I've read, one of the things that they always say is people love talking about themselves, right? And when you talk about meeting people and how to engage with someone or possibly influence that person, whether you know it or not, anytime you meet someone, you're influencing them, right? Whether it be positively or negatively. And that's just one of those things to think about, right? So I'm just gonna leave that open to everyone. The do portion of the be no do process, executing with excellence. How do we prioritize doing mindfulness, self-care?
Hey, LYS fam, it's Olay. You know, if there's one thing I love, it's something free. I'm talking free 99, un gratis. No shipping or handling fees, no gotcha fees, nothing like that. With that being said, if you're graduating soon or thinking about college or need a nudge or help to decide, then our free ebook, 10 Things to Think About Before Going to College, has a very balanced and open-minded way of presenting your next steps. It captures broad topics in a personal way by giving students an insightful, interactive, and reflective source of inspiration. It is very beneficial to be able to visualize some of the concepts after high school and apply them directly to you. We all know life, college, and career planning decision-making choices for students can be challenging, especially as they near the completion of high school. This book will provide you with a self-paced guide to your success beyond academics and into real life. Not only is it free, you can complete this book within a week. This will definitely prepare you for long-term success. To get your free copy, simply go to lys.com/students. I mentioned it was free, right? Well, if I didn't, it's free. Like, for real. Okay, back to the podcast.
Yeah, I think, man, you hit the nail on the head, is like checking with the circle. And I think this is something that a lot of young people, is going to hurt when you first start doing it. And what do I mean by that is, in your circle, you know, especially American high school, it's like, man, it's great to have a lot of quote unquote friends. But the older you get, the more you will realize some of those people are just classmates and just acquaintances. I like to liken it to getting on a metro bus. You know, you might get on at the same time as somebody else, but have a different stop. You know what I mean? And so sometimes as you're checking with people, some people don't like what you're doing in order to become more successful, because they're like, yo, you changed. And this is where you're outgrowing the environment, right? Because this is the thing that's a tough thing that a lot of people don't talk about. Again, the big thing, in teachers, education classroom is nature versus nurture, right? And like, okay, well, let's talk about nature versus nurture. But the reality is we create the environments that we are in. So you could have a person who, and I look at this from a third world perspective, from an immigrant perspective. When I was in Nigeria, they didn't have the luxuries that we do here. They didn't have running water. They didn't have electricity all the time. Roads, you can talk about potholes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you bump your head on the top of the car, the pothole, be potholes look like craters. But you'll see somebody in what you would consider a, worse than, in a shack, sweeping out. And what do I mean by that? Is that person still has a view of cleanliness. They still have a view of upkeep, regardless of the rest of the environment that they're in. Whereas sometimes we think, okay, gotta be ghetto, all the way ghettofied, get as ghetto as in the hood as you can get it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this goes back to, a lot of Black folk, grandmas and the Hispanic folk too. You know what I'm saying? You got the plastic on the couch. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, how you in Section 8 and you got the plastic on the couches? Because don't mess up my stuff. I still take pride in that. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm in Section 8 don't mean I have to have a Section 8 mindset. And I think we've gotten to a place now in society where, at least on the outside looking in, a lot of people have taken the Section 8 and it moved into them internally and not just externally, not it just being a circumstance, but now it's a way of life. You know what I mean? You ghetto all the way through and through. And I get everybody has a little bit of ghetto in them, you know what I'm saying? But you don't have to live ghetto all the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thought process on that, executing well, right? It's just, okay, I know I came from this environment, but I am better than this and I can do better than this. And that's what I'm striving for on a continual basis until the circumstances change externally. And that might mean the people have to change. If you can't change the people, change the people.
Beautiful. Absolutely. Crawford Hill, please, if you have anything you want to drop in, please go ahead and do so. I don't know why I feel like I sound like I'm on NPR right now. Thank you for listening to Edge of Steps. The time is 2:44. Go ahead.
Nah, man, I don't have anything to add on. Festus definitely, he in his bag right now. So, yeah.
So let me say this. Yes, Festus is definitely in his bag. And I did have some questions that I wanted us to come back to. So yeah, one other thing that I wanted to talk about was a couple things, sorry. It's okay to change up what you do as technology changes. I got to fold my arms to figure out how I'm going to say this properly. Lodge clubs were very popular at one point, right? I can't tell you exactly what a lodge club is. My background or knowledge of lodges or lodge clubs comes primarily from 70s TV on, right? But what I gathered was it was a group of men who came together with like minds, like backgrounds, who came together in a social gathering to fellowship, right? Bars, certain things, right, that we've had throughout time. As times change, as technology changes, those different aspects of life, they change as well to meet up. But the one thing, and I got to thank you, Festus, for this, because this is one of the things that I've learned from you, is these things that are created, they're created because they're meeting some foundational aspect of what we need or what we desire as humans. I don't mean desire as a negative, right? Sometimes it is as a negative, right? But I mean just the things that we genuinely need as humans to survive, right? You look at Facebook on its own, right? It was started as a way for you to network or keep up with those that you grew up with, right? That's one of those basic. I remember I would just search for days. I'm like, man, this person, because I have a way with names, so I just remember so many people. So I would just be like, this person, and I'll never forget. I remember her name. Her name was Julie. We went to middle school together. We were in band together, and I friended her, and she sent me a little message. She said, "Hello, I don't know you. Where do I know you from?" And I said, "Oh, hi, my name is so and so. We went to middle school together. You're a baritone. You were really good." She was like, "Okay, yeah, I remember you." She was like, I ain't trying to be your friend." And I was like, "Cool." But that's the point, right? It meets that genuine need that we all have as humans to be connected, right? One way or the other. And so don't be afraid to change or to, find to kind of tink the thing that you're doing to help you with your self-care, to help you with your wellness and your mindfulness as technology improves, right? Because at the foundational aspect of it, there's something that's being done to meet some genuine need that we have as humans, right? First thing I wanted to say. And real quick, I just wanted to talk about the importance of self-care routines for students. Quickly, I'll say this: keep it simple, stupid. Not calling you stupid, just keep it simple, right? You know, if I could go back, I would do like Festus mentioned this a week or 2 weeks ago. I would just have a list of everything that needs to get done. What's the most important thing? And I would just go down from there. There's no need to overcomplicate it, right? Use your teachers, use your academic advisors, as we are now giving them there, because that's really what they are. The counselors that you have in high school are academic advisors when you get to college or university. Use those advisors. Use students. Use students. There, you will see certain students who are doing well, who, just like Festus said, have been raised in certain ways or have been taught certain things that they have used to apply throughout their schooling, right? You may see a student who takes, I used to be so jealous of some of these students who took immaculate notes. I mean, their notes were like, you could frame them and put them at MFAH, like the Museum of Fine Arts. You know what I'm saying? It was so beautiful. And I used to be so jealous because my notes look like, you know when you look at someone's notes and then the RTI person or the SPED person comes in and they're like, hey, this guy right here, take a look at this guy. You know, you over there, you know, going at it. That was me, you know. So look at those students who are doing that good stuff and just say, like, how do you do that? You know, like what's your process? You know, and I do remember a couple times that I did that, but they were kind of freaked out anyway when they were like, no, you go over there with your scribble scrabble, you'll be fine. Don't worry about me over here. I'm trying to get somewhere in my life. You stay in your lane. You know. But so let me get to the question so we can close out here. And I think this is actually going to be we're going to need 2 episodes for this because we still have to get down to, I call it the CEFHSSV, right? The 7 chapters of LYS, and how do they encapsulate within those 7 chapters of LYS? But a couple of questions I wanted to ask everyone here. Okay, 2 questions that we're going to go over. First question is, how important is the social circle? How important is the social circle? Because I think that's something that for a lot of the kids that were like us when we were in high school, we relied on our social circle, like our close friends. You know, I always love to use the example of me and Festus as an example. 4 of us came up in high school. We're still friends till today. And even, you know, it's funny, Clemente was talking about this the other day. He said, you know, Festus was the first one who got something or who did something. And he never said, hey, bro, you got to go do this. Hey, bro, you got to go do that. He just went and did it. And the process of him doing it kind of, it motivates you. It's like, oh, he went and did something. Do something. It's just, you know what I mean? Because if no one's doing nothing, you'll be surprised how little gets done, right? But even in your social circle, those little things, right? Those little pistons move around, right? One does something, all right, let me do something, you're doing something. And then you start, as you grow in confidence, as you grow in status, you start communicating. I learned this. You learned that? Oh, wow. Oh, he learned it? Okay, he learned things. And then that's how it starts, right? That social circle. So, you know, and I'm so blessed because it's even grown to Crawford and Hill, right? I mean, we worked in the same school for like 3-4 years. Really didn't say much to him. Not till I got into the 5th grade side. Oh, as soon as we put that 5th grade side, you know, it was that they were, you know, with Black people, when you see another Black person, you come on, hey, friend. Hey, friend. And before you know it, every Friday we're just hanging. It turned into, I don't even know what to call it. It turned into the Freedmen's Bureau on Fridays after school. We just in the school having meetings, you know, just chilling and talking. So the social circle is so beautiful. It's so important, right? Because when you don't have someone giving you the tools, the foundation at home, when you don't have a true counselor, a guidance counselor, someone to give you tools and tips and tricks, resources to help you deal with the inner issues that are plaguing you, when you don't have access to the knowledge and the things that other people do, and no one's mad at them, that's just the way it is of the world, right? When you don't have access, you got to stick to what's close to you. And a lot of times for a lot of our students, what they have, the social circle, is literally just draining because everything around them is draining, and it's contagious, right? So social circle is one. And then I guess I'll just put these two together because I was rambling. I apologize. And drugs. I think drugs is another thing that I've noticed has been really big for a lot of these young kids. Me and Hill were talking yesterday. Hill said the kids these days don't, when we were growing up, we didn't do the work. You had those who did. It wasn't even the haves and the have-nots. It was you did the work or you didn't do the work. These days, you have kids, they'll do the work. In the high school levels, they're more willing to do the work, but they're also more quick to look out for other things to help them. It's been really hard. I've seen a lot of my students that I had for my first year openly, on Instagram smoking weed and, doing a lot of these things. And so I think there's a huge push to also go outside for more of these outsources to help with the mindfulness and things like that. So if we could, just a quick 1 minute, 2 minute, let's talk a little bit about the drugs and let's talk about the importance of the social circle, right?
The social circle is definitely important because that's where your biggest influence is going to come from outside of, the home. And unfortunately, for us children growing into adolescents, teenagers, and things of that nature, you're actually going to spend more time with your social circle than you are with your own family. So there are going to be some big influences. It'll make you or break you. So, if your social circle is consisting of emotional intelligent beings, then you might have some support there and get some good counsel if needed, good advice, or friends to lean on. But if your social circle is consisting of beings who are not, or let me say, who have low emotional intelligence, then that might not be the best thing for you, But us as adolescents at those times, I don't think we have the wisdom to kind of see that and make the necessary changes, unless somebody else kind of catches it and takes us under their wings and kind of, break that down to us. But I think that's kind of where hopefully the morals and values that were instilled into the child by, their parents kind of come in to kind of mitigate those situations when those outside resources may become available to them. But then I'm also thinking about these kiddos who parents are so busy working because they're working 2-3 jobs just to make ends meet. So they don't have the time to actually parent, and their social circles and environments are actually raising them. So I just, brought all those things up. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Beautiful, man. Thank you so much for that, Crawford.
Yeah, I think if I could just chime on to what Crawford said, I think it's really perfect. If you're a young person listening to this, one of the biggest things you could do is find somebody who's older that's a mentor. Now, I say that with this caveat is accountability. There are people who will prey on you because you're younger. So don't be naive, okay? And what do I mean by that is there's people who will take advantage of you financially, sexually, otherwise. So, if you can get in a good, healthy environment where there's accountability amongst the adults or the people who are kind of older and get mentored, that is going to be key for your success. And so, I just look at my life and the fact that I've had people who, again, were older than me, who were able to point things out to me. And I hang around a lot of older people. Like the majority of people who I listen to are 20 years older than me, right? 15, 20 years older than me. Why? Because I look at myself and say, would I like to be like that person in 15, 20 years? Or would I like certain aspects of that person in 15, 20 years? And you're saying, what do I mean? Should I elaborate? Because Sabrina, come on, say it on the mic so I can.
No. Sorry. Conversation. I didn't realize you said
Okay,
anything.
man, y'all got an inside thing going on. Anyway, so check this out. You don't want to be getting your life advice from other 15-year-olds for what life is going to be like when you're 30. You know what I'm saying? You want to listen to a 30-year-old say, these are the things I did right, these are the things I did wrong. Try to find people where you could listen to them. And that's why I think, podcasting and YouTube is such a powerful tool, because again, you could listen to something like this and be like, man, okay. And you could be in that safe space, you know what I'm saying? From your phone, from wherever you're at, you can listen to this and be like, man, I'm in a safe space and I don't have to be in danger. Because there are some people, again, unfortunately, they want to take advantage of the fact that you're needy and you don't have the parental support. There's a video going around of like this filthy pedophile, the disgusting old man, who would talk about the fact that he would prey on the fact that these were single mothers. They needed somebody to watch their kid. They didn't have a lot of money. So, the creepy old guy who'd be like, oh yeah, I'll watch Freddie. And next thing you know, all this disaster end up happening. Right. So you have to kind of find that balance of how can I find somebody who's older, more mature, who's willing to pour into my life. And you got to be careful with that too, because sometimes that's the catch, is that, I could get such and such a loan because they'll listen to me. You see what I'm saying? So I want to put that caveat out there, because we want you to be safe, but we also want you to be successful. And the sooner you can find people who are mature, who are about their business, who are about their life. And trust me when I say this, there's no white knight on a shining horse or shining white knight, black horse, whatever the case is, that's coming. That's fairy tale garbage. Sometimes it's the garbage man just being like, picking up the garbage on Monday and being like, don't be like me, that you need to listen to. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's the wino on the corner who's in front of the store begging for change, who's like, man, I ain't got no peace. Like, don't be like me. Listen to school. That's who you need to listen to sometimes. You see what I'm saying? So
definitely, brother.
Yeah. So that might be your mentor for now. He might not be able to show you how to make $1 million, but the fact that he said, "Don't be like me," ask him, what does that mean? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then that might be able to put you in that position to be like, okay, maybe I don't like going to church all the time, but Pastor's throwing out some game. Let me listen to Pastor real quick. And no, Pastor might not be able to come down from the pulpit, spend a lot of time with you. He got his own family, got his own problems. You know what I'm saying? And this is the thing you're going to realize, and I know I'm soapboxing, but the older you get, you're going to realize that so many people have their own problems. They don't got time to spend all that time with you that you want. You being emotionally distraught because, they only spent 5 minutes with me. They only got 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to deal with it.
I want to say this, man, because that's such a powerful point. I used to think my dad was so cutthroat. I used to think he was so mean. My dad used to say things like, don't trust anybody, even me. I'm like, he would say, I remember I would in high school, I would ask for rides home. People be like, look, everybody has their own problem. I can't help everybody. Like, right. But now, like you said, it makes so much sense what he's saying. It's like, you can't go out looking for people, trying to get these expectations that you have on yourself. Everybody has just so much. You don't even know. All you see is a smiling face. You don't know what that person's thinking. You don't know what's going on at home. You know what I mean? So it's a lot. That's definitely very, very true, man. Very powerful point there, Festus. D Hill, that guy. Did you have anything you wanted to drop in on us? I know you're busy out there selling shirts in Ireland.
Nah, man, you know what happens, man, my bad. I'm eating. My niece called, man, needed help with a website. So I was like, all right, I got to help her real quick. But no, man, I've been listening in, man. And your boy been going in. And I'm like, yes. Telling people that everybody don't have time. I think people forget, even like when you're out somewhere and people are mad because service might be slow, right? But not knowing this dude in there by himself, everybody done called out and he's stressed out because he got his own problem. Not knowing that if he walk out, then everybody's stuck. So it's like, and we gotta understand, like, everybody got their own problems. Everybody trying to get themselves fixed from all the stuff they're going through. And there's a lot of situations, especially like you said, the pastor got 1,000 different people in the congregation. And for some reason, all of them want personal time. How that gonna happen, bro? Like, pastor got his own kid. But nah, man. Like I said, I've been just listening in, man. Just over here catching a lot of knowledge, man, from the bishop.
Yes, no, I feel you on that, man. Definitely, man. So, as always, thank you so much, D Hill. Dr. Crawford, we are calling that in advance. We're speaking it into existence, man, because you are, and that's just that. So I think this is really good. This is gonna be a two-parter right here, because I got a couple more things two things that I wanted us to talk about, finishing up Be No Do, and then we can go into cultural education, financial health, social, spiritual, vocational, and how all those things kind of work all together. Because if you don't know, you will know by next week that they do all work together, and in all those 7 aspects of your life. So my name is Olay Shorunke. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Edge Steps, powered by Laddering Your Success. Festus, please give these wonderful people the phrase that pays.
So check this out. You're listening to the #1 education podcast out there, period. We're not holding back no more. We the #1 podcast. Okay? We the #1 education podcast, period. All right?
Y'all here getting spicy,
#1 in the world, not #1 in, we the #1 in the world.
Hey, Festus, let me say like this. You know what I mean? You got a lot of people out here, you know what I mean? The owners in the background. He's running the strings. We live and direct in your face, baby, giving you that knowledge. A to Z like Amazon, dog. Talk to me. Talk to him, Festus.
100%. So you're listening to the #1 education podcast. And listen, there are legitimate excuses for not going to college. There's no legitimate excuse for not having an education. Hit the like, the follow, the share button so that somebody else who needs to hear this can ladder their success. Okay? All right, we'll see you on the next episode.
I see you.
Oh, you still there? Well, thank you so much for listening to the LYS Podcast.